Some games are true masterpieces, but for some reason end up being completely overlooked. That doesn't mean they don't deserve a chance. And today we're going to talk about 15 underrated AA single-player games that are definitely worth your time. So, without wasting any time, let's get started. No Rest for the Wicked is an impressive surprise, especially considering it's still in early access. Normally, games at this stage tend to have some issues, but this one already has such precise and polished gameplay that it's hard to believe it hasn't been finished yet. The comparison to Souls games is inevitable, since this game brings a mix of brutal and challenging combat focused on parrying. Every action is calculated and requires the player to have perfect timing. This isn't the kind of game where you can just mash buttons and hope things work out. You have to read your enemies and wait for the exact moment to react. The game world has a dense gothic atmosphere, dark architecture, and enemies that look like they came straight out of nightmares. Although the game has its roots in the Souls series, it manages to create its own identity within the genre, blending its influences with a unique execution. Even though it's still in early access, it's already clear that No Rest for the Wicked deserves more attention and, over time, could become one of the major standouts. System Shock is a true masterclass in how to update a classic without losing what made it iconic. This is a complete remake of the 1994 original, blending modern visuals and gameplay improvements while preserving the essential elements that define the genre. The story takes place on Citadel Station, a space station overrun by the rogue AI Shodan and her army of monstrous creations. It's an environment rich in atmosphere, with dimly lit corridors, menacing sounds, and that constant feeling that something is watching you. It's a chilling mood that makes you want to keep going just to see what's behind the next door. The gameplay is a mix of exploration, puzzle solving, and combat. The station is full of secrets, and every room seems to have its own purpose. Combat is tense, with you having to search for weapons and ammo while facing robots, mutants, and other twisted creations. The game's main star is Shodan. Her voice, her taunts, and the way she manipulates the environment to torment you make her one of the greatest villains in video game history. Visually, the remake is flawless. It modernizes the visuals, delivering something more fluid and immersive, yet still preserving that retro-futuristic charm. If you've never played System Shock, this remake is the perfect way to experience one of the most influential games of all time. Mullet Majak is one of those games that, at first glance, might seem like just another silly joke, but actually has a special kind of charm. Imagine Doom set in a world filled with metal music, B-movies, and tons of over-the-top action. The title already hints at the comedic tone the game adopts, but that's exactly what makes it so much fun. You play as an anti-hero with a shiny mullet, dueling with chainsaws while facing hordes of enemies. What could have been just insane chaos actually has a good dose of strategy in the weapon upgrades and in how you handle the mayhem. And for anyone who thought it was just a joke, there's a revenge story mixed with humor behind it all. The game has a very specific appeal, and that's why it was kind of overlooked. But it's precisely because it's so unique and unashamedly silly that it deserves more attention. If you haven't given it a chance yet, maybe it's time to set seriousness aside. It's short, straight to the point, and pure fun. On top of that, the game is Brazilian and probably one of the most successful in the country. Nine Souls is one of those games that hasn't received the recognition it deserves. It's a Metroidvania that blends samurai aesthetics with a touch of cyberpunk. And what's most impressive is that it nails both aspects perfectly. Combat is based on quick reflexes, parrying, dodging, and fast attacks. What really makes Nine Souls shine, however, is its world. Each area is hand-drawn and overflows with stunning details. The art is inspired by Asian mythology, but it's combined with futuristic technology, creating a unique atmosphere. You explore ancient ruins while unraveling a story of gods, lost technology, and revenge. And the bosses are brutal, but in that way that makes you think, I'll get it next time. If you like Hollow Knight or Katana Zero, this game is a must-play recommendation. Trepang 2 is pure frenzy from start to finish. This FPS is very reminiscent of Fear, with its fast-paced battles, insane shootouts, and slow-motion scenes that add a good dose of brutality. You play as a super soldier rescued from a secret facility, and from the very beginning, the action is relentless. With abilities like slow motion, You can pull off incredible moves, like leaping through the air taking down enemies or storming into a room and wiping everyone out in seconds. The weapons are brutal, and the game challenges you to explore every option. But the enemy AI is smart too. Vanquish is a no-nonsense action game developed by Platinum Games. It's a third-person game that puts you in the shoes of an agent equipped with a futuristic suit, allowing you to move across the battlefield with impressive agility. The game doesn't waste any time. It's fast, straightforward, and packed with intense moments where speed and aggression are key. The main star of Vanquish is the combat. The suit sliding mechanic makes every shootout even more dynamic, almost as if you're in the middle of an action movie scene. You're constantly dodging, jumping, and attacking enemies with precision. The weapons are impactful, but the real difference lies in how the suit gives you total control over the chaos. The game's futuristic setting is as over-the-top as its action. With giant robots, explosions, and colossal bosses, the pace never slows down for a moment. Although Vanquish isn't a long game, you can finish it in about 5 to 6 hours. It's perfect for those who enjoy pure, straightforward action. Still Wakes the Deep is a psychological horror game that oozes tension, atmosphere, and a constant sense of dread. This first-person game focuses much more on the growing fear of the unknown than on cheap jump scares. And if you enjoy games that truly make you uncomfortable, this one will keep you hooked. The setting is fundamental to what makes the game so special. The oil rig is dark, claustrophobic, and filled with unsettling sounds. The game perfectly captures the feeling of being trapped in an environment as dangerous as whatever is hunting you. In terms of gameplay, the focus is on survival and exploration. You're not a hero, you're just a worker trying to stay alive. You'll move through tight corridors, solve environmental puzzles, and do whatever you can to avoid what's chasing you. The story unfolds as you explore, and it's addictive without being too obvious. If you enjoyed Soma or Alien Isolation, this game has that nerve-wracking tension, but in a completely unique setting. It's not for the faint of heart, but if you're willing to experience unforgettable horror, Still Wakes the Deep is a title you won't want to miss. The Thaumaturge is a hard game to classify, mainly because it blends a number of genres so skillfully, which is something you rarely see. Set in early 1900s Warsaw, the setting itself is already fascinating. The cobblestone streets, newspapers flying through the air, and the conversations in the street markets make the world feel incredibly alive. Something that few games manage to convey. At its core, it's a narrative RPG. But things get interesting when you discover that the protagonist isn't just an ordinary human. You are a thaumaturge, a kind of person with supernatural abilities, capable of summoning creatures that can manipulate the winds around you. It's an RPG that's not just about making decisions and progressing through the story. The choices really carry weight, especially in a morally ambiguous world. And just when you think you have the situation under control, it surprises you, making you question every step. The game has multiple layers, and even though at first glance it seems like a historical drama, beneath that surface lies a tense, supernatural narrative with engaging gameplay mechanics. The Stanley Parable isn't just a game, it's a true mind trip. You take on the role of Stanley, an office worker whose routine is turned upside down when he realizes he's completely alone in the building. What starts as a simple walking simulator quickly turns into a surreal, hilarious, and thought-provoking journey about choices, control, and the very nature of storytelling. The game's main highlight is the narrator. With sarcastic and witty commentary, he keeps you engaged the entire time. If you follow his instructions, you'll see one version of the story. If you choose to ignore him and do the opposite, the game adapts and turns into something completely unexpected. The visuals are intentionally minimalist. And here, graphics don't matter. What keeps you hooked is the freedom to explore and test the limits of the narrative. Just when you think you've seen it all, the game changes the rules and throws something completely unexpected at you. It's funny, clever, and at times, strangely profound. If you enjoy games that break the fourth wall or play with your expectations, this is a must-play title. Lost Judgment is one of those sequels that takes everything great from the first game and makes it even better. You return as Takayuki Yagami, the sharp detective who also knows how to fight, and this time he's involved in a much darker case. The combat gameplay is excellent, and you have 3 different styles to switch between during battles. fast, heavy, and technical. Using these styles together in the heat of battle makes everything more dynamic, whether you're facing thugs on the streets or giant bosses. Just like in the Yakuza series, the city of Yokohama feels alive, full of things to do. The side missions range from serious mysteries to completely crazy situations. If you enjoy the Yakuza games, Lost Judgment is the right choice. It has the story, quality combat, and personality. Whether you're punching villains or dancing, fun is guaranteed from start to finish. So, which of these games have you played? And if you haven't played any, which one caught your attention the most? If you missed any game, let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. As always, thank you so much for watching and for staying with us until the end. See you next time. Bye-bye.